in the esports scene.
Hello. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, hello. What a kind welcome, as always.
As always.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to be a rude host and not welcome you.
I know.
Right? That would just be the worst.
Do you know how many podcast hosts don't welcome their guests to their podcast? It's an epidemic.
It's true. It's a plague upon humanity.
It is. Truly. Probably number one priority of stuff we need to fix, I would say.
Yep, definitely up there.
In the entire world, is just getting podcast hosts to welcome podcast guests. If we can fix that, I think everything else would be pretty easy from that point on.
Smooth sailing, yeah.
Oh, the smoothest. Yeah.
How are you?
So anyway, I'm doing all right. We do have some GSL to talk about, some DreamHack to talk about. We have a lot of good StarCraft. We have some Wonder Egg to talk about.
Yes, that's true.
We certainly have many, many things. So what do you want to go with first? DreamHack?
DreamHack. Let's talk about DreamHack.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't know. Can we ask for more than a 7-game Maru Rainer final at this point in 2021?
I think no. I think that's pretty good. I mean, I wasn't particularly happy with a lot of the games, mainly because Maru played mech a lot.
A lot of mech.
Like a lot of mech.
After we spent the whole whole year being like, mech is bad. Boy, is mech bad. And Maru's like, screw you guys. I'm going to win with it. Yeah.
I was a little just kind of mech'd out by the end of it.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's the same thing that just failed twice in a row. Cool. This'll mix things up and keep Rainer on his toe. No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was a 7-game series, but it's not like every one of those was a banger.
Right.
Fair. Entirely fair. But I mean, I don't know. How many 7-game series have we had that have gone 7 games where every game is just like outstanding? I don't think it happens, is all I'm saying, ever.
Probably not. I mean, there's probably one. At least one. I'm willing to bet on one. There is
in the history of StarCraft 2?
Yeah. There's at least one series that went 7 maps, and all of them are absolutely sick for one reason or another.
Possible. Quite possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, in fairness, Mara wasn't going like traditional mech of Thor, Hellion, tank, right?
No. Well, there's a lot of tanks.
Yes, but I mean, that's the tradition. When you think of mech, you think of that, right?
Right, yes.
He's kind of switching in and out of race car mech. One of those games I saw, at least, he had a bunch of Cyclones and Hellions running around, and Ravagers trying to chase them and stuff.
Battle cruises, even, right?
Yeah.
But
a lot of battle cruisers for sure. And I wondered, I don't know, because I've talked about this before, right? I've talked about how the traditional mech of Thors and tanks is easily counterable by Zergs who understand. You just make up all lurkers, you get some Vipers, you abduct the big ticket tanks and Thors into your lurkers 2 or 3 at a time. They get eaten alive. You're not losing anything. You just destroy the Terran who does that. But if there are also a bunch of battle cruisers and they're kind of Yamatoing, the threat of Yamatos there, just one-shotting your Vipers from a good distance, and kind of removing them from that very important equation that Zerg needs, suddenly it's a different ballgame.
Suddenly it's different, but the actual value in battle cruises is the harassment on the other side, because they can always warp out, so you just repair them and it's basically free damage every time. So the fact that 4 battle cruisers can wander into like Reyno's 5th, kill a shitload of drones, the Yamato the Queen, the spores, whatever, and then just get out when the corruptors turn up.
Yeah.
it's pulling him apart. He can't just focus on like, oh, Viper's picking away the tanks, because you got to look in two places at once. Otherwise, you're gonna lose stuff back in your you're gonna mess your economy up essentially, or it's gonna get messed up. More importantly.
Yeah, so somebody needs to tell Ruff that the way to make mech work against Zerg is just also make like 6 battle cruisers.
Right.
He needs to know. Because he's been a chief proponent of being like, mech is completely non-viable. It's like, look, man, Maru took games off of Rainer with it at DreamHack. It's not non-viable. Maybe you just suck with it. I don't know, man.
Maybe
it took Maru to show us the way. Which,
maybe.
Shame. It's Maru, right?
Right, yeah. He absolutely could have lost to Hero Marine or Innovation. Probably not Innovation. but he's runner-up. No shame in losing to him if you ever do. Or, if you're Terran, learning from him is probably a good way to go. Even if you didn't get the win.
Right. And again, he won 3 of those games. So,
sure.
see what happened here,
Replay pack. The replay pack is out, so everyone can get in and see exactly what he's doing from his perspective as well.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. Good. I mean, seriously, if anyone from the DreamHack team is watching this, thank you. You're incredible. Some tournaments, the replay packs come out a week and a half later, and you're like, oh yeah, I was waiting for that replay pack. But no, DreamHack, just same day, man. No wait. Great. Thank you.
I'm just waiting for Blizzard to push out an update that makes all the replays from the old patch dead. There's an entire tournament, I think in IEM, that the day after the replay packs or the games were played, there was an update, and you just can't ever reload those replays if you've updated your StarCraft client.
It broke the ability to load those replays entirely, and it was weeks later before a fix came out, and everybody was like, hooray, it's a fix. But the fix literally only fixed replays created in that latest patch and later.
Yeah.
So that window, that window of time, including that IEM, is a forever broken section of replays. If you have a replay from between a certain date to a certain date, that replay will never load. In StarCraft. It's amazing.
True. Yep.
Also, if someone from DreamHack is watching, you need to cool your jets on the replay file names that you're doing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are so long, the StarCraft 2 client can't read them as anything, which is really funny. You can have a .sc2 replay file in that folder, but if it's I believe it's 20 characters or more, then the StarCraft 2 client is just like, I don't know what this is. I got nothing. It just gives up. I saw somebody on Twitter complaining about that. I can't load. These replays don't exist. What's going on? And I was like, that's not my first rodeo. I know what's going on. And I looked, and the replay files were 50 characters. It's insane. So tone it down on the replay file names. You don't have to go crazy with it.
Yeah. Just the player names and the map, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Or, I mean, you have them structured in folders. Maybe just put Game 4 as the replay name. And then the context of where in the folder structure it is will tell me what it is,
There you go.
Some tournaments do that. Some tournaments just go Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, which is nice and easy. And I'm sure it's easier for them, too. So, If you want to save some time, just do that. My recommendation from my professional experience, replaying. Replay consuming.
File organization is the phrase you're looking for. Your personal experience in file organization.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So anyway, let's see. Anything exciting happened in there otherwise? We had a ZVZ and a TVT semifinals.
No Protoss in the playoffs.
Yeah, no Protoss made it to the quarterfinal. Which, considering we had Trap, Zest, Neeb. We had Trap and Zest in there. I'm honestly shocked that one of those guys didn't make it in. I mean, they're only top 10 in Aligulac right now.
It's true. I mean, even Nice, I think Nice could have beaten Innovation. I mean, I think he should have. He didn't, but I think Nice is better than Neeb. not quite Zest or Trap. And I mean, the fact that Probe didn't get out really baffles me.
I mean, I expected to see him in those finals. I really did.
It's true, yeah.
At the end of the tournament on that Sunday, I expected, Probe to be facing off whoever the second best player in that tournament was. So
it's a shame he went out.
It is some kind of weird Protoss curse, obviously.
Clearly, yeah.
He would have made it to the final, except some weird Protoss shenanigans were happening. Yeah. But it is funny though, because hasn't the narrative for the last few weeks and months been that Protoss is overpowered and it's so hard to deal with all the bullshit they can do,
I feel like that's always the narrative. That's
sometimes it's Zerg is overpowered and all the bullshit Zerg can do is impossible to deal with.
I don't know. I feel like it's always just Protoss bullshit, right?
Oh.
I feel like it's always. I feel like
never.
I don't think anyone's thinking Zerg is overpowered at the moment. Maybe people are. Some people definitely are. But when I go to ladder, I'm like, I might have to face a Protoss.
There's a risk here.
Yeah.
Of potentially facing a Protoss.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
I don't know. Anyway, the point is, yes, the narrative for all time, according to Somicron, has been that Protoss is overpowered and stupid. But, I don't know, it's a whole semifinal with 0 Protoss representation. Clearly, they can't be that overpowered and impossible to deal with, right?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
The other argument is just that Protoss has bad players at the moment. Like, no one's really keyed in on the way, Serral fixed, nobody's done that for Protoss yet.
An interesting concept. I don't know. Maybe. But again, the whole... So, we're probably not going to get a balance patch.
No.
Right? So, we've become Brood War. We've become what we hate. Not we, but, most StarCraft 2 fans hate Brood War. It's a game that now the meta will change based on players figuring stuff out and changing things up. The meta will not change because all of a sudden Void Ray's got a buff, or all of a sudden Widowmine's got nerfed, right? Or all of a sudden Infestors got patched out of existence.
Right. Theoretically. Right. As far as we know, Blizzard's free to do whatever they want with the game, and they could totally take Marines out of the game if they wanted to.
Yes, but again, odds are that probably won't ever happen. So
odds are.
Yeah. And technically, they could balance patch Brood War 2 if they felt like it. They're not going to, but they could.
Yeah. It's entirely irrelevant, but I think that's because they don't see any benefit to it, not because they don't want to do it. Right? Like, if they thought balancing Brood War would help them sell more copies of the game, I think they would do it, but I don't think they will. Because it won't.
It would drive a lot of interest towards the game.
You think so?
A lot. I think so. Like, even just the sheer amount of Brood War fans who would be screaming about it online.
Sure.
They would be very, very mad. That would drive a ton of attention towards it. And depending on what they did, if they fixed some kind of long-standing complaints that people have about certain units, and suddenly, battle cruisers are kind of viable, I don't know. I think some people would be interested in, trying it out. Again, are these people who will buy Brood War for the first time? No, they are not. Probably.
Right. It doesn't translate to sales.
So your initial argument was, are they going to increase sales? And the answer is no.
Right. And it not only that, will it increase sales to be competitive with Overwatch or WoW subscriptions, right? Which there's no way StarCraft is ever meeting those sales numbers.
Nope.
Because that's what it would need to hit. What's going on with this SCV glitch I keep hearing about in Brood War? What is that?
There's a glitch where you can stack your SCVs and make them fly.
Because SCVs have a jetpack. So what you're basically saying is they all hold hands and take off. right.
A lore explanation for that? Sure.
Okay.
But, yeah. So basically what happens is it looks like one SCV wanders into your base, and you're like, okay, but then like they can float over your Nexus and over your assimilator and attack your probes, and they're kind of one-shotting them, and it's
You can't
like,
fight back.
stupid, right? You can't fight back. It's bad. Like, it is a horrendous bug. The kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, patching that to fix it seems.
I mean, here's the thing: are bugs banned from being exploited in competitive play?
Yes, and that's what I was going there. There's an existing Protoss bug where they can stack probes in a certain manner, and that is 100% banned from competitive play, but it's not patched out, right? So this might just be a situation where it just gets banned from competitive play. But man, it's easy enough to do. The SCV one is easy enough to do that it might just be a plague on the ladder. But how much do they care? I don't know. Like, these are good questions.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen here, but it does feel like the most likely scenario is that they, what's left of Blizzard will ignore it. It'll get officially banned from every professional tournament that has any kind of money involved at all. And it'll just plague the ladder until people get tired of it.
Yeah.
Hooray. We live in the greatest future.
You said greatest. Did you mean the other thing? The
Thanks,
opposite of
Clippy. I did mean the other thing. Yep, absolutely. Did you say ouch? You never been compared to Clippy before?
No, nobody's ever compared me to Clippy. Oh.
Poor Clippy. Somebody spent a lot of time working on Clippy, and I guarantee he gets closed the instant he pops up for 90% of people who've ever seen him.
Does Clippy still exist? Like,
no. And I used some present tense there, bad in a poor way.
Yeah.
In the past, anyone I'm just telling you, when he showed up for me, he'd pop up and be like, "Hey," I'd be like,
close.
Yeah, I don't even care what you have to say, man. I don't know. Maybe in like an older demographic was like, "Oh, look at this little cartoon paperclip. Maybe he has some answers for me about how to format this document I'm typing up."
You know what? I really hope, because like Clippy, for what it's worth, is essentially like a bot, right? But really, a bot is just a basic AI. I hope somewhere in Halo's lore, Cortana, right? Like if you trace back the like generations of AI research, it starts at Clippy. Right, like
Clippy's like her great grandfather.
Yeah, because now Microsoft are using Cortana as their personal assistant AI that they shovelware into Windows.
Ooh, so you're saying maybe some of the code that Cortana is using currently is Clippy code repurposed?
Well, it's definitely the same like programming team that made, like, whoever made Clippy clearly made Cortana, because it also gets immediately closed.
That's true. I've never used Cortana for anything in the history of my life. It's a good point.
No, I don't think anyone has. It's the first thing I do when I see a new Windows, like install a mice machine. My housemate recently had to reinstall Windows on his machine for upgrade purposes, and it was immediately, how do I remove everything Cortana related?
Sorry, Cortana. It's not your fault.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I think when I did a reinstall a couple of years ago, and I'm pretty sure Cortana was like, "Hey, you can set me up now," and I was like, "No." And like, to their credit, Cortana doesn't keep popping up and being like, "Hey, are you sure?" So that's nice.
It's true. She takes no for an answer.
Yeah, she takes no for an answer. Unlike, say, YouTube and YouTube Premium, who will constantly pop up and be like, "Hey, this is available. You want it?" And it's like, I've said no the previous 37 times. I don't think 38 is going to be the magic number, guys.
No?
Yeah, they're assholes about it. No. No means no, YouTube. Respect my wishes. It's becoming harassment.
I was in YouTube Studio Creator or whatever it's called. YouTube Studio is what it's called, and it gave me
is.
like a pop-up being like, "Hey, Studio Dark Mode's now available. Just click your profile image for the account, and there'll be a thing." And I click it, and there's no like switch to dark mode button. So it's like, "Hey, this feature you've requested is available, but you can't have it."
That happened to me too. I was like, yes, dark mode. I've wanted this in Studio for years. No. The button that they tell you to click doesn't exist.
God damn.
So what we're saying is batting 1,000, guys.
Batting
1,000. Yeah. You click your profile image, and there is nothing. There's no dark mode setting. There's no
Absolutely
nothing at all. So I don't know. Did they roll this out prematurely? Like the announcement got pushed before the actual feature was there. That's what it feels like happened.
That is what it feels like happened.
Yeah. So lame. They got our hopes up and dashed them most expertly. Aki says
it was
A/B
test.
tested.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure they just messed it up. That's all.
That's all. Yeah.
All right. So GSL.
Yeah.
GSL were getting through the group stages. You know, they take their time with this.
They sure do.
We got groups A and B complete.
And C.
It's and C. Yes, thank you. Spaced right over C. Wow, I don't know what happened. It's even colored. Like they're helping me here.
2 Protoss got out, so you don't care.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's not great for Terran so far, I think is our general theme.
Yeah. Beyond
like,
Possible, Dream, Inner, and Maru all failed to make it to the playoffs.
3 of the 4 horsemen failing to make it to the playoffs. Go Bunny. Bunny, the Korean Terran representative. Special, maybe. Special. Perhaps Special Parting Solar. I think Special can make it out of there.
Do you think so?
I do.
I don't. I think it's going to be Trap and Potting.
Okay.
Yep. That's.
I guess I just don't believe in parting all that much. I guess. No. I like him. He's a good player, but the number of times I've watched him and been like, "Wow, this guy, he's scary," is not very much. So, I don't know. It's just personal preference, I guess. Personal bias.
Well, here's the thing. I typically agree with you, but we got into an argument at one podcast because I said, "What's like the best thing Parting's ever done?" And you were like, "But he's a world champion." And I'm like, "He was a world champion in like 2011. It doesn't count." But
correct.
Here's where you're supposed to... What?
Sorry. I remember going down that rabbit hole. That was so much fun. Where we slowly figured out 2011 was this crazy year where they were like 2 Koreans can participate in the finals.
Yeah.
In the final bracket, and every other country gets representation. And it was like, wait, what? Why? Amazing. That was such a good tournament.
That was the thing.
Anyway, and I do still maintain he had to beat a ton of great Koreans to get there.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean that's like with DreamHack, right? It's no Protoss really got to the playoffs, but the Protoss that got into the group stages, they all beat a great bunch of Protosses and other Koreans and in the qualifiers, right? So they're all still really great players, probes there. Right? Like, just because you're here doesn't mean you necessarily beat a lot of great players, or that you're of equal skill to everyone else around you, or that skill will translate for the next 11 years.
Right. And that's the thing. How recent has been your success? What have you done for me lately? And if the answer is not much in the last 11 years, then sure, it's not really valid anymore. Fair enough.
There we go.
Yeah.
Glad I could settle that many podcast episode longs debate.
Many episodes later. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Byun, Eno, and Maru just bonk, bonk, bonk. Bonked, bonked, bonked. I'm okay. Who beat Maru? SOS 2-1'd him, and Zhone 2-1'd him. Oh.
Yeah.
This kid, I mean, he's not a kid. Keep saying that. He's
like
24.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I need to officially stop calling him a kid. He's just kind of new to doing this, like, qualifying well for GSL stuff. Yeah.
Percival, you
working
can
hard.
call a kid. He's only 19.
Okay, yes. Thank you. Percival, child. He got 2-win by Bjorn and 2-win by Rogue. So, I don't know. Taking maps off those players, not bad.
Not bad. Yeah, solid.
Yeah. Represented himself pretty well. He'll be back.
For sure. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll keep trying.
Just looking at something. So
Rogue and Dark meet up in the quarterfinals. That's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But both of them could totally win GSL. To have them meet up in the quarterfinals is like, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying?
Oh, I was just looking at prize pool differences between DreamHack and GSL.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how much money did Percival, even with his performance, walk away with? The answer is $4,000.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
If you wanted to walk away with $4,000, you had to be Rogue or Inner in DreamHack, which is coming third and fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they got
Which
$4,500. So the prize pool,
impressive.
even though GSL, you're not making it as far, you're earning more than DreamHack.
Correct. Also, GSL is over a longer period of time.
It's true. I mean, an argument could be made that the qualifiers for these started how long ago?
That's a good point.
Because they
Regional
qualified
qualifiers.
by region. Yeah.
Yeah. So weeks ago then. That's fair. Probably pretty similar then.
Months. Like, I'm seeing Europe was May 20th.
So like $4,000 for months is not great.
No.
No. No wonder these guys stream. Some of them.
Some of them. They're all on teams, which I think pay them salaries.
Right.
I think. I don't actually
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I say this. Like, why wouldn't you just stream your practice?
Because then
I guess
people
to
would
avoid...
see
give away your builds. Sure. And if you're Maru being like, look at this super fancy mech variant I came up with, you don't want people seeing that ahead of time.
No.
But, like, so don't stream all your practices, but maybe just the ones where you don't care, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, you don't even have to be, like, personable. I mean, they're... right? Like, there are definitely plenty of StarCraft streamers who, like, do not have emotions while they're streaming. They just have a face cam up and they're stone. But, you know, a few thousand people are watching, so hey.
Yeah.
Worth it? I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Maybe. I mean, Clem, apparently in an interview, said he plays, like, 10 games a day.
That's it?
Yeah.
What? That's impossible.
So, he couldn't really stream his entire practice because it would only last an hour.
Yeah. You're like, well, that's 10 games, stream. Chat, thanks for tuning in. Bye.
See you tomorrow.
I mean, I don't know. Even that, you get a bunch of donations and bits and stuff. I don't know. It'd be
maybe.
worth it.
Probably.
And even if you just stream part of your practice routine, right? Just those 10 games every day. And then the rest of your, whatever games you want to practice are offline. Whatever. I'm giving advice to really, really successful people. So
That's true. When was the last time you won a GSL?
yeah, good point.
So this is an
All right.
This is because GSL is like the groups will be done and the first round of the playoffs will also be done before we get a chance to talk about them.
Zipping right through, huh?
Yeah.
So remember last week, and I was like, these times are really good for me.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. It's military time, so it's 3 a.m., not 3 p.m. Yeah, so all these have been at 3 in the morning, which is like, I believe we specifically gave 3 in the morning as the worst possible time. Try to watch something. Yeah.
I mean, I watched DreamHack at midnight till like 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't see why you can't do it.
I've got dumb baker's hours, man. Don't compare. It's not comparable.
Okay, fine. I mean, these DSL hours are worse for me because that's like 9 p.m.
Right.
And
It's real bad for you.
That's bad for me. I'm asleep at 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Should we cover the Wonder Egg?
Wonder Egg, yeah. Wonder Egg. Don't worry, guys. We're totally going to give you an in-depth look at the special episode. Falcon, could you start us off with a recap of the last season?
You mean the second recap that we've had this season?
Yeah. This one's a recap of the entire season, not the first half of the first season. Come on.
Well, that's an excellent point. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's effectively a 13 episode season with 2 recap episodes. And okay, in fairness, you look at the behind the scenes stuff here, and this poor studio, these poor animators and voice actors and producers are working their butts off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's reports of them working on stuff until the hour they need to turn it in.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of school a lot, actually. But not as good when you're working for a professional company with a pretty successful show.
Yep.
I watched a video about this today, and the dude made the point. It's like, look, we've heard all the stories. They were working until the very end. They were overworked. They were stressed. Mm-hmm. But it's clearly a labor of love. Like, they put so much effort into every facial expression, and some of the scenes are just beautifully well done. And if you watched it, you couldn't tell. Mm-hmm. There's nothing about it that feels rushed or haphazard or sloppy. It's very well crafted. Mm-hmm. They just killed themselves to do it.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
It's true.
And so all of these complaints, I have no complaints towards any of the animators. I think they killed it. I don't have any thoughts about the voice acting because I watched the subbed version. And I never have any feedback for Japanese voice acting because I don't know what they're saying and I can't tell if they're acting well.
I mean,
so maybe they were great.
I think the voice acting was pretty good. Like, there's no complaints to be had.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So nothing. So all the complaints go towards, well, the people writing the story and the producers, I guess, are the couple things here.
Right.
Yeah. So the problems, 2 major problems. One being in episode 9, they started introducing this larger, deeper mystery of a universe, and the whole thing with, the 2 mannequins before they were mannequins, and what's her name again? The redhead?
Rika.
No.
Frill.
Frill. Thank you.
Should have said robot.
Name. I know. Sorry, the robot girl that they made.
Oh, Rika's blonde, but she wears a red jacket. That's why I'm getting confused.
Yes, that's fair. I'll absolve you.
Thank you.
So yeah, all the stuff with Frill and they introduced a lot of concepts here. That, in hindsight, it's ambitious what they're trying to pull off here. And there's a lot of good ideas in what they're trying to do, but they were muddled and there wasn't enough time to really explore it or get everything done that you wanted to get done with it, obviously. And it probably would have been better off just leaving all that stuff out and just kind of finishing the arc of the 4 girls without introducing a lot of the other crazy stuff that they did.
I think if you take all that stuff out, you can't fill the 12 episodes that you've got, right? Like, even 11 episodes that you've got, because one of them's a recap. I think you get 10 episodes, and the studio had to, right? Like, you've got to fill the 12 episodes that you've got, and then they overreached, right? Like, thus needing the 13th episode.
Right. And again, this is my source is a YouTube video, but the guy said that this is their first, like, these particular animators and voice actors and this team, this is their first thing they've ever done. Like, this is obviously a passion project. This is something they came up with. This is their own IP that doesn't rely on anything else that's already existed.
Okay.
And they just bit off more than they could chew through inexperience, right? So like you said, they were given 12 episodes they decided they couldn't fill 12 episodes without introducing the other crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so they tried to introduce the other crazy stuff and maybe bit off more than they could chew, again, through inexperience.
Right. Well, I mean, okay, so it's not the first thing the studio's made. Like, the studio has a bunch of really impressive titles behind it that I've heard of, and some of which I've seen. Like, they did Balance Unlimited. It's the same studio.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. They also did Horimiya. They also did...
Okay, but
a bunch of other
are
stuff.
both of these existing mangas?
I mean, probably, or light novels, something like that. It might be the first thing they've done that's original, but I would have hoped that the studio had support in, like, because obviously a bunch of these shows were running at the same time, right? That if one production department was having issues getting things out, you could put people on the team maybe with some of these other ones that either wrapped up or are in pre-production, or I don't know.
Maybe. That probably would have been a good idea. We don't know if they did or not, though.
Right. Yeah. No clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then the other problem people have is that the final episode was kind of touted as this big, hour-long, incredibly epic, explains all the things kind of episode, but it was not. First of all, half of that was recap. So it was actually a regular 22-minute episode, and it's very, very much more of a hope we get a season 2 style of a season finale.
Yeah, answering almost no questions.
Yes.
And proposing several more.
several more.
Yeah.
Like, Nero's a robot. Hey. They introduced with 5 minutes to go in the whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. So there's that. I hope there's a second season.
I would watch a second season.
I would watch a second season. Yeah.
But if it turns out this is all they ever get, it's a real mess. It is a real mess of a season 1.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, like in the last 10 minutes, they introduced the fact that Nero's a robot, and she decides to accept Frill's offer to make her a real girl. And disappears into the internet or something. And
it's not the internet. Out of all the things that it could be, it's not the internet. Okay.
I know, but it's kind of like that.
When we say when we say Neru is a robot, we don't mean she is hardware, right? Like, she doesn't have a USB port, right, on her forehead or anything.
Oh, but like Frill creates like some pathways to alternate realities through being hooked up to computers and stuff. So
she's not hooked up.
Something's going on.
She's not hooked up to computers. I keep having to re-explain. The monitors in her coffin are blank.
She's just been down there figuring out how to go to different parallel realities by meditating.
Well, the girls do it by sleeping. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so she's a robot and she goes to sleep.
Because she's got a flesh body, yeah. They made her as, like, we say robot, she's not made of metal.
We don't know that? I feel
we
like
do
we
know
talked about this.
Yes, and we resolved it. We saw her being grown in a vat that they emptied into the bathtub. And her hair grows.
A final... No, it doesn't. Because remember, they lock her in the basement, and when they pull her out again a lot longer, her hair is not longer.
She cut it herself, okay? Look, the animation team was stretched, okay? They didn't have time to give her a new hairstyle, but it clearly grows. Right. It grows.
Fine. If that's the attitude you're going to take, fine. Anywho, we're getting off track. Mm-hmm. Nero takes Frill's offer to make her a real girl, disappears.
Yeah.
And apparently later needs help. She's calling I think.
Okay, so strict timeline of what was shown is I think she's basically like, hey, I take care of my rat, and she gets on a bus and leaves, right? Like, she picks up town, she just skips off, and then she tries to call I, right?
Yeah.
I does not answer feeling like she's been abandoned by her friend Neru, especially since something that they didn't really explain very well, that the girl, like their friends are now alive again. The people that we were trying to save are now alive, but there's like cosmic noise in the timeline that hit, like they no longer remember their friends, right? Like,
so how Alchemy interpreted this is that our heroines got teleported to a parallel world that's identical, except their friends are still alive, but they don't know them.
Right, which, I mean, sure, I think if function, it makes no difference whether or not the heroines got transported or their friends that they were trying to save are just versions from a separate timeline that get brought into their timeline, right?
Or that.
Right, like,
but then,
functionally, it's no different, right?
Well, except that you have to change everybody in the current timeline to be cool with the fact that these dead girls are back, which changes a lot about the current timeline.
Which is why I didn't interpret it as pulling people out of timelines. I thought it was like space magic, right? It's like, okay, you did this thing, and now they're alive, and the universe compensates by having you forget having them forget you, and it just kind of travels on, right? Like, whichever way it gets interpreted doesn't matter. What has physically happened is that they're back and they don't remember you, right? Like,
right.
It's so the specifics don't matter.
It's brutal. Like, we thought it was bad when they thought they got their dead friend back and they just disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you didn't get the answers you wanted. None of them got the answers they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But then to have it be like, they're back and they don't really care about you is so much worse. It is so much worse. Poor Ai, when she's trying to interact with her friend and it's going super poorly and her friend is a total bitch.
Yeah, it's like, aren't you acting a little personal? Like, it's like, oh my god, that's brutal.
Then she drops I always knew Mr. Sawaki had a kind heart, which, okay, that's mean girl stuff right there. Mm-hmm. That is, you are not a nice person style stuff.
No.
Which, does that go into the theory that her friend was just using Ai to get closer to Mr. Sawaki the whole time?
That is what
was a fake friend?
We're literally told that, yes.
Well, yes, but whether or not we believe it wasn't really a solid thing until now, I guess.
Well, here's the thing. She says that, and we're like, that's the interpretation that we get to apply. But in the current timeline of events, she never did that, right? Like, so we're assuming that her Mean Girl's attitude is evidence for her doing something she never did now. So it's just correlation, and we're still basically just left with Mr. Sawaki's testimony of this is what happened.
Right.
Which is she was using Ai to get close and then slipped or threw herself off a building.
Then, like, threatened to commit suicide and then accidentally slipped and fell off the building. So that answer. Another question is that kind of suicide? Like, if you accidentally fall off a building, you didn't really kill yourself, right?
Well, I mean, you accidentally committed suicide, right?
Right. But for the purposes of the show, it's like Ai is rescuing someone who accidentally killed themselves, which is kind of different thematically, right?
Right, because the show is very much about what are the secrets of suicide in young females.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. They don't give us enough to trust Mr. Sawaki or not. I just don't trust him. It's just a little too convenient that his entire story about what happened with Koito is like makes him look like a super good dude and she's terrible, right?
I mean, it makes him look like an okay dude. I don't think it makes him look super good. At the same time that a student was threatening to kill herself, he just didn't show up, right? Like, he just was like, no duty of care here. Go hang out on the other side of the fence on the roof of a 5-story building.
Sure, but I don't know.
Do I send another teacher?
Right. That's the thing. What's your school's procedure for a student is threatening to kill themselves unless you, a teacher, come and talk to them? probably not go talk to the student, right? Probably not.
I don't know. Probably get someone to, I don't know, call the police maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there are multiple things you can do, but as far as whether you go to the roof or not is what I'm asking about here. Anywho's.
Yeah, so I don't think it makes him look amazing, but it certainly doesn't paint him to be a bad guy.
Right. Not at all.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, right. So just all back to the whole thing. Like poor. Even Momo is like, so this friend that got super awkward when she confessed her love to me, now she doesn't care about me at all, and it's really weird. It's like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, she probably wasn't hoping for a retread of the awkward conversation they had previously, but for it to turn into I don't exist according to her anymore is very strange. Yeah.
Yep.
Anywho, so right, just a lot of crazy stuff. More questions introduced than answers given by far in that final episode.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, again, I think widely really enjoyed. I think a lot of good feedback on it through the first few episodes, especially. So I don't know. Maybe we could get a second season. I don't think it's outside of
I think
out of the realm of possibility.
I wonder. If I had to guess, it will get a second season in like 6 years. It'll be one of those shows.
That's a while.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I would like to say that I am looking at Wonder Egg's official website, and on their production staff cast list, there's someone who is listed under weapon design.
ooh.
Well, yeah. The Japanese that is listed there, I don't know how to say or pronounce just by looking at it, but it literally translates to draw a picture, Peter.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Yeah. What?
So, I don't know if like it's just an issue with translation, but I took it and I put it through Google, and it also says it just means draw a picture, Peter. So
Okay.
I think whoever did the weapon design is named Peter, and he needs to draw a picture.
Come on, man, get with it.
Then again, it also says design animation was done by Big Bird.
Oh.
I don't know what's up with that. This website might be not intended for Google's limited translation software.
Possibly not. Yeah, that's very strange. All right. Well, that's Wonder Egg.
Yep.
Boy. So now the question is, do you recommend people watch it?
Yeah. I still do.
Yeah. Just be aware that many of the questions you will have will not be answered. And treat it like season 1 of an ongoing series, and you'll be good.
Yep. That's probably what you should do. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not as good as Vivi. Vivi did a great job wrapping things up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Vivi didn't leave us with no questions, which I think is, depending on the nature of the show, better. Like, no questions or some questions. Like, if it's, hey, it's up for you to interpret. Like, that's one thing. You definitely want questions. But I feel like Vivi's ending was grounded enough that it should have had less questions than it did. Like, why did Vivi get a free reboot with Matsumoto? I don't know.
Like 3 times? Yeah.
No, just like right at the very end.
Okay.
When short-haired Vivi. That's what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Good
Nobody
question.
knows. Like I said, it's got questions. Yeah. Man,
Yeah, endings are hard. This has to be said. In works of fiction, endings are hard to do. So, I don't know. It's just becoming more and more impressive over time when someone does nail an ending to something. Like, I feel like in the past I've kind of taken that for granted, but maybe I should stop doing that. Maybe I should be absolutely ecstatic when something just nails an ending, gets it good, you know? Because we have a lot of examples where endings are just not good because they're hard.
So I'm still going through their website and have a character bio for each of the characters. Would you like to hear Mr. Sawaki's character bio?
Yes.
Ai's class teacher. He is advisor to the art club and is very popular with the female students. Often visits the Otto family to see what Ai looks like.
Whoa. I think that's probably a mistranslation.
I mean, given that he's painting her.
Ooh, good point.
He's dating the wife, or the mother.
Oh, he is painting her because the painting's at the end.
Yeah. Right.
Ugh. So I have a story about a middle school teacher who was very popular with the female students. He's in prison now. So it's not great.
Right.
It's not great when your character bio is middle school teacher is popular with female students. Never ends well.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So again, we're not totally told he's a villain, but my goodness, does everything kind of add up here?
I'm wondering if it's a slight mistranslation because there's also a character bio for Rika's mother, and it reads, "While running snacks, grow." Rico. While running snacks, grow. I think that's the end of the sentence, although there is no full stop, even though the sentence above it does. The one below it just says, Rika with just one woman. So... I'm going to assume it's likely a mistranslation.
Yes, I'm not trusting these translations at all. Not even a little bit. That's hilarious. Okay, well, good. All right. Grow.
While she is worried about Ai, who is absent from school, she is kindly snuggling up. Guess the character.
While she is worrying about Ai, who is absent from school?
While worried about Ai, who was absent from school, she is kindly snuggling up.
I got nothing. What the heck is that?
That's Ai's mother.
Oh. Sure. All right. Well, it's enough Wonder Egg. 86 has decided to split. They got a split season, which, okay, they didn't decide to do that. This was always the plan. I just don't pay attention to meta discussions about shows I watch.
Sure.
Yeah. So there was an episode, but it was a recap. So I got a lot of recapping in my anime this week. Wasn't great. But the second half of the season is going to be in October, which is actually not too far away. I feel positive about this.
That's not terrible. That's not terrible.
Right. So I'm okay with it. 86 is great.
I can't wait to catch up on it.
Yeah.
Instead, I finished off a couple of shows I've been meaning to. So what are the other shows I finished? Because I know you don't care about them, so I'll just say what they are. I finished Full Dive.
Horimiya?
No, Horimiya finished ages ago. Full Dive, this next generation VR... hold on. The ultimate next-gen Full Dive RPG is even shittier than real life. I finished that. That's the guy who gets isekai'd into... he plays VR games. Except it's just a terrible game. Like, everything sucks. Like, if you die, it blows up your console.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. that was a lot of fun. And then I finished So I'm a Spider, So What? Which is also a fun isekai about a girl who gets reincarnated as a spider.
As you do.
As you do. Great show. Very interested to see where it goes in the next season, because like 2 episodes left of this season, they were like, oh, hey, mechs exist in this fantasy world.
I would not have expected that. So good twist, I guess.
I did not. And yeah, I'm very excited to see where that goes. So.
Cool. I don't know. I expect him to get squished at some point. Spiders lead very dangerous lives, that's all.
I mean, she's relatively big for a spider.
I mean, okay.
Like, she's the size of a person. And her mother is, like, the size of a building.
Oh. So the squish threat, lower.
Lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good to know.
Yep. Whew. Glad that's out of the way. Is there anything else?
Did you have another show you were watching?
I can't find it, but Anime Lab is currently going through the process of becoming Funimation, and so their website doesn't really function the way it did.
Oh, okay.
Like, it still has my list and what I was recently watching, and if I look through my recently viewed, Super Cub. There's definitely Super Cub I have not finished, which is about a high school girl learning the power of friendship through riding motorbikes.
Right.
Basically speaks for itself. I'm 5 episodes in. I assume the remaining 7 go exactly the same.
You've talked about that one. It sounded pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. No fear. Don't watch it.
Right. That's fine.
I'm trying to think. Because we've already got some stuff about the next season, I think. Or is this last season? What season are we in?
For what?
For anime. Are we in summer, or is it?
I don't know. I already told you. I don't pay attention to meta discussions about stuff I'm watching. I don't know.
I assume we're starting summer.
Sure.
And I've been looking through some of the shows coming out, and nothing's grabbed my eye. Which is what's worrying me. Yeah. Because it's like, well, I got nothing.
That's fair.
Yeah. Unless you want to watch Digimon.
No.
No? What about Boruto?
No, I'm watching Loki, though. Loki's kind of nuts.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Show about time travel, man. Yeah, it's good.
You're watching a show about time travel and you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's... So part of the conceit of the whole show is that there's what's called a sacred timeline.
Okay.
So there's a ruling governing body that anytime there's a branch, anytime anyone creates what's called a nexus event that splits off a new timeline, they go there and imprison the person who created it and prune that timeline. So there's only one. So there's time travel, but it gets pruned. So there's only one timeline. It's an interesting way of doing it, and I'm kind of okay with it.
Okay.
Because so far there hasn't been any, like, and then we went back in time and killed Hitler's grandpa, you know?
Right. I've been watching Doctor Who, and I just got to the episode where they go back in time to kill Hitler. So
there you go.
Yeah.
It's not Doctor Who.
Good. That speaks volumes already.
So spoilers for episode 4 of Loki, but so the people in charge of the sacred timeline are these 3 lizards called the Timekeepers, right? They're like lizard-human hybrid things.
Sure.
They're just alien, right? But nobody really ever sees them. They're very mysterious, and there's a lot of theories that they don't exist, right?
Oh, okay.
So in episode 4, Loki ends up being brought in front of them, and they're there. They're talking to him, and they're they seem real, but then someone throws like a knife and severs the heads of one of them, and they're animatronic.
Oh.
So we go from like, oh, the Timekeepers are real, to the Timekeepers are not real, at least not in this room, and we haven't really had any time to explore it. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens next. Because it's entirely possible the timekeepers exist, but they use Disney World style animatronics when they're face to face with dangerous people in case this happens, right?
Is it possible that the keepers of time are just machines, sentient robots?
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Or it could be that there are other beings behind the animatronics of the timekeepers who are really running the show, right? So there's a lot of options here. I'm curious to see where we go with it. But it was a nice twist because, you go from the timekeepers are real to they're it's a small world after all, the Disneyland ride now. I didn't see it coming, but maybe smarter people than me did. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah. Anywho. Pretty good.
Cool.
All right. I think that's it from us.
I think it is, yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour with Somicron. Go ahead and check us out at twitch.tv/Somicron, where we broadcast this live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, like 11 a.m. Australian. Yep, nailed it. Check us out at falconpaladin.store for all of your Falcon Paladin merch, including hoodies and shirts and pillows and mugs and all sorts of cool stuff. And also you can support the podcast directly by going to patreon.com/Somicron if that's what you're interested in doing there. So that's going to be it from us. Again, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Stay safe and stay healthy out there. And until next time, again, in a week, you all take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Bye.